Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to A.O.S Abroad. Thank you very, very much for joining today. I really do appreciate you for joining once again. And today we are going to be having a very interesting discussion, a discussion centered on what a lot of people have been waiting for, what a lot of people want to hear about. People want to know about the new caregiver program. And today I am with so much joy and happiness that now we have a full detail, like we have full details about what the home care worker immigration pilots program is going to be. Especially, we are going to be talking about the eligibility criteria. And this criteria, the eligibility criteria, is something that we have been speculating so much about. We have not been sure about the full picture. Do you understand? But today, it's with great pleasure that I say that we have more or less the full picture now. Canada has just released some information about what you should expect for the home care workers caregiver program, which is coming up on the March 31st, 2025. So today we are barely like 5 days to March 31st, 2025, and Canada has thought it fit to actually give us this full breakdown just a week, barely a week to, you understand, the launch of this program. And this program, in fact, is going to really assist a lot of people because Canada has really not done something like this before. Like they have not given so much space, so much what they call it, so much timing for people to apply for a caregiver program like this before. And we would explain what we mean by that. The article that we would be reading today, or maybe before I even start the article, maybe I should first of all go on the website, on the Canadian immigration website. Yes, I think that is what is going to help us. Let's go on the Canadian immigration website and see on the website what exactly you understand Canada themselves say about it before we now talk about the CIC news. Do you understand? Before we talk about the CIC news. So for those that are joining us on YouTube, you know that anytime we are live like this, we are always on TikTok, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So today on YouTube, we are sharing our screen for the home care workers, the caregivers specifically, it's caregivers. And aspect we are going to be talking about, as we said, is the home care worker immigration pilot. And today, in fact, even the website, if you see the Canadian immigration website, is quite different. Do you understand? The way they populated it, the way they actually showed us the information is quite different from what we have been seeing on the website before. Do you understand? And I think it shows that they have really been working. Canada has really been working towards this new program. And in fact, about this program, um, I was also opportune to speak to. Well, we are still going to read the you understand website, but I was also opportune to speak with a licensed immigration consultant, and he's one of our members in you understand Canadian Association of Professional Immigration Consultants, and to actually have a kind of discussion to have a discussion with him this Saturday. Yes, this Saturday, because just like applicants are preparing, also consultants, licensed consultants, and lawyers are also preparing. They are preparing for this program. So it's something that a lot of people are. Some people are anxious about the program, and some are so much positive, so much geared up, and a lot of things, a lot of planning have gone towards this program. And I'm going to also be having a lot of live sessions, you understand, about this program, especially when I meet the consultant in question, because he's an Indian, he's someone that uh, a lot of people in the community revere so much, and is someone that if you want to hear and know the best things about immigration, you understand. He has been in the immigration sphere for quite some time, and I would say he's one of the very first. He's one of the best people to actually discuss with when it comes to immigration. So I'm going to discuss with him about it, and we are to see how we can assist a lot of people, not only for the caregiver program, but even some other programs that people are not really looking into. You understand very well. So we are going to be talking about that in our meeting on Saturday, and I believe once we have our meeting, we have discussed about what we have to do or what people have to know about them. We would come on this platform again and discuss about them with our, you understand, viewers. Now, moving on, let's now go on to what Canada stated about the home care worker immigration pilot. Now, this pilot, please, I want us to understand it. I want us to know what exactly it is about. Because a lot of people will miss this fact. And I don't want you to be part of those that will miss these facts. Don't miss it. Do you understand? Um, the facts are there. Not everyone will benefit from the program, sadly, but those that will benefit would have some things that will stand for them. You understand? That will be benefits to them than someone that don't really understand or is not willing to, you understand, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So basically, in this, you are going to understand how to position yourself in a way that you are going to um, basically benefit, and the government to Canada, the province, and the employers are going to benefit from it. And I'm going to give you a lot of nuggets on how to actually go about it. So, just like Canada stated on the website, for those that are on YouTube, I said you can actually check this website. You can check our what do you call it, channel A.O.S abroad on YouTube, and you would see exactly the slides that we're actually presenting today. So Canada stated the home care worker immigration pilot for child care and home support help skilled workers who have a job offer in the field immigrate to Canada permanently. Now, look at these two things because sometimes people don't understand the underlying information that Canada are giving. And from the very first sentence, if you are reading between or within the lines, you should be able to grasp what they mean. They said the home care worker immigration pilots, plural, for child care and home support help skilled workers who have a job offer in the field immigrate to Canada permanently. What do they mean by this? What they mean by this is that if you are part of those that are taking care of children, you understand, you have your own pilot program. If you are part of those that are taking care of the home, maybe for adults, people that cannot take care of their homes again, you have your own pilot. Do you understand? So they have basically splitted the pilot program into two. Into those that are taking care of children, toddlers, people that are young, you understand, and those that are taking care of the home, you understand, like people that are taking care of the homes that adults have, do you understand, or taking care of adults themselves. And we'll talk about who these people are and how you can know which one you fall into, because you may fall into the two, but they may just pick you for one. You may fall into one and you understand, move with one. You may not even be in any, and you see how to actually work towards getting eligible for, you understand, at least one of them. Now, Canada stated apply for permanent residence through the pilot. Now they have introduced, or they have opened up, or they have shown us the link, start your application. The link start your application is now on the immigration website. You understand? Is on Canada immigration website. Though I think the last time I clicked on it, let me just click on it again for the iota of doubt now. You understand? When I clicked on this start your application, they have stated it that it is for now going to open March 31st, 2025 at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it will open. It has not yet opened, even though they say start your application. Do you understand? But let's go back because I want us to take it from one step to another. Don't let's jump the process. Now, moving on. I said you may be eligible to apply for permanent residence through the pilot if you have. Now look at this. You may be eligible if you have these three criteria. One, a full-time job offer in home care, which a lot of people will not have, which is going to be sorry, it will be the determining factor to a lot of people that will get cut off from this program. But two, relevant work experience or training. And I do tell people you can either have work experience or training. And we'll talk about what they mean by that. Three, you have the required language skills and education. So we'll talk about what are the required language skills and education in a bit. Now, they now said, for those who want to hire, the first type are people that are applicants. when they say apply for permanent residence through the pilot, those are for the people that are applicants. The start your application link is for people that are applicants. But if you're not an applicant, if you are a what? You are an employer, they also have the higher skilled workers through this pilot. That is for employers that can hire qualified home care workers through these pilot program. And of course, there is always a link, just like we see here. And this link states, learn about what you need to do. Do you understand? Learn about what you need to do. And there are a lot of people that will see to check on there. You check for employers now. I'm not going to focus so much on employers, but for employers, they will check if they are eligible, how to find a home care worker, how to make a job offer, and how to apply for the people, the applicants. After the applicant actually applies, let's go back to that of the applicants, because it's the applicants who want to focus on. You that want to come into Canada as a caregiver. We're not focusing on the, you understand, employer now. If time permits us, we can come back to the employer, but let's focus on the applicant first. Now, they said immigrate through the home care worker immigration pilots. These pilots, as they say, offer permanent residence. What they say? These pilots offer permanent residence to skilled workers who want to work in home childcare or home support in Canada. Do you understand? Just like I've told you that they have divided it for us. You understand? We have two pilots. They said there are two pilots in this home care worker immigration pilots. What are the two pilots? They said number one is the home care worker immigration pilot child care. That's number one. And the second one is the home care worker immigration pilot home support. Do you understand? So we have two, the one for childcare and the one for home support. What is the status basically? They said workers in Canada, for those that they said each pilot has two application streams. So the first pilot of the childcare has two application streams, which are the workers in Canada and the applicants not working in Canada. That's number one. Number two is for the home support. That one also has two streams, which is the workers in Canada and the applicants not working in Canada. Are you feeling me? Okay, let's move on. Now, they said for status of workers in Canada, it will open up March 31st, 2025 at 10 a.m. what Eastern Standard Time. But applicants not working in Canada, for now, it is closed. For now, we are not to actually expect it. Or let's say we are to expect it, but they are not starting it by March 31st, 2025, right? Now, they said when the pilot open, we will accept applications for the workers in Canada stream. The stream for applicants not working in Canada will open at a what? At a later date. I hope that explains it. And they said, of course, the fees, if you want to pay for the fees for those that are working in Canada, the fees is $1,525, right? $1,525. Let's now look at, they have given us some sections on the immigration website that will kind of guide us towards the number one question: who can really apply? So you have to check if you are eligible, who can really apply. Number two, you have to look at get a job offer. So you learn today, find a job that meets all the requirements for your what? For your application. Number three, you have to look for how to apply, which will tell you how to find out how to complete and submit your application. Number four is after you apply, what to do if IRCC approves your application. And five, settling in Canada, how to prepare for arrival to Canada or find services for newcomers already in what? Already in Canada. Now, this is very important. We are going to take these sections one after the other. If you have any questions whatsoever during this communication, during this, you understand, live session, ask your questions. It's very important. Ask your questions so that we have the opportunity to respond to them. And anyone we don't know, anyone we are not informed about, or we don't know how it's going, you understand, how to respond to it yet. Just like I said, I have a meeting. I have a meeting with an immigration consultant on Saturday, and I could actually relate your questions to him so that he gives us a full rundown, a full breakdown of what you would expect. You understand, or what you are actually asking about. Okay. Oh my God, you. Why am I yawning like this? Was it because of the fast? Yeah, remind me. So, number one, the first section we need to know about is who can apply. Check if you are eligible. They have said that those that they are looking for are people working in Canada, right? Now, for those working in Canada, there are different people, different types of people that are working in Canada. It's not everybody that are working in Canada that will be eligible, right? So let's look at it. Who can apply based on Canadian immigration standards? Okay, thank you, Emmanuela Chibuogu. Chibuogu. I see you are liking live on what do you call it, on chat on TikTok. Thank you very much. Okay, someone is saying Lizzie Cherry. Hi, I was looking for you. Yeah, looking for me. Oh, I'm safe. Okay, hi, how you doing, Lizzie Cherry 7? Hope I'm safe. Now let's move on. Um, Canada is saying, IRCC states here, to qualify for the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot, which is known now or abbreviated now as the HCWIP. What is the HCWIP? That is the what? The Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot, right? So note that acronym. Once they are talking about home child care for the home care worker immigration pilot program, then it basically means the what? The HCWIP. Now they said who can apply? They have given us some boxes that can you tick those boxes? If you tick those boxes, then you are what? You are very much eligible. Okay, Lizzie Cherry is saying something here, Lizzie Cherry 7, that you are safe. Just want to enroll for a French class. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So, if you want to enroll for a French class, if you want to get started on your French training, don't hesitate to actually visit our website, aosacademy.com. If you visit our website, the very first um online courses that are there are centered on what? They are centered on French. And of course, it's not only the yes, okay. It's not only the French online course, but you also get linked to a virtual coach that will teach you from the very scratch. You understand, up until you become proficient, or at least up until you become ready. Because another thing we always see on our own, what they call it, website, is you don't need to be an expert, or you don't need to be totally fluent in French before you take the French examinations. You understand? There are ways that you can actually, just because it's people, some people that are even fluent. I've seen a lot of francophones that fail the exam. You understand? The TEF Canada, the TCF Canada. You understand? But you just need to know how to answer the exam questions so that you'll be much more prepared. And we have different we have different what they call it, classes. We have the beginner class, the intermediate, the Oh, okay, someone is asking, you teach French, Emanuela Chibogo? Yes, we do teach French. You understand? I'm a French speaker, I'm a French teacher. Basically, that's what I was doing in Nigeria when I later came to Canada. So, of course, we can teach you French. We have different classes, as I said. We have group trainings. You understand? Group classes. There's also the private one-on-one coaching. So it depends on the one you want, any which one you want. Again, okay, it's asking, is the Cherry 7 is saying, please, what is the website again? So you can go on our website. Our website is A.O.S. I'm writing it on the chat section so that you can actually just visit it. You understand? Visit our online school. That's our online school site. Do you understand? And you visit the online school. The name of the online school again is A.O.S. That's letters A.O.S. And you just put academy in front of it. Academy.com. You understand? Academy.com. If you go on that website, you'll be able to see a lot of things in relation to what? In relation to your the French training you want to take. And as I do always advise people, in the last session we had similar to this, I was advising people that you can also register, sign up on that website, and first of all, take the introductory online course. We have the French for TEF Canada or TCF Canada introductory online course that will make you understand. That's a free online course. You'll be able to understand what you need. So I did the online course. You'll be able to understand what the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada format is all about. French, the level to which you need to learn the French, because it's not, as I said, compulsory you become totally fluent in the French language. You'll be able to know the resource materials, the past questions, and everything you need to start learning and preparing simultaneously, because some online schools or some physical language schools will say you should first start learning French, and they will be practically waste your time because they know that they want to make money from you basically. But instead of them training you for the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada immediately, they will first want you to take maybe like a 6 month training or 1 year training, firstly for learning French first, before you now start preparing for, you understand, TEF Canada or TCF Canada. We don't do that. We start immediately with training you on the French language and also preparing you the past questions that you could have started doing from the very first day of class. So people will wonder, how is that possible? Yes, it's possible. You can start even with not having any basic French knowledge. If you are at least someone that can learn bonjour, you can start actually solving past questions of the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada from the very first day of starting the classes, and that will prepare you and kind of give you much more confidence that okay, this thing is not as difficult as what some people would actually portray it to be, you understand, online. So just basically go on the website. If you go on the website, take the free introductory FTC. FTC stands for, as I said, French for TEF Canada or TCF Canada examination. Take that first free introductory online course, and later on you can now decide yourself if you want to take it a step further to sign up for the group trainings or for the one-on-one coaching or even the monthly classes, as some people always start with first. All right, thank you very much. Let's quickly move on because I don't want to waste time with that one. We are talking about this thing here. We're talking about caregiver. Oh, okay. Emanuela Chibogu says, I'm still struggling to even get a job. Yeah, it's normal. It's normal. You struggle. It's part of the hustle. You have to struggle. You have to tussle. But if you don't give up and you learn from the mistakes that you have made whilst you are applying for jobs, you understand you can better be much more eligible. We have the career abroad package for that trains people on how to get jobs as well on that website, aosacademy.com. You can look at our career abroad package and you see if you don't know how to create your resume, your Canadian staff resume, you don't know how to create cover letters, you don't know how to interact. You understand? Because it's not about networking. Sometimes you may apply and they may not even see your application. But if you network well with people on LinkedIn, I've shared on this live session how to network on LinkedIn before. You understand how to position yourself as a professional. So if you want to learn all those, you can also go on the website awsacademy.com. The career abroad package that we have on that website explains in details how you can actually position yourself and get jobs virtually first, get volunteerisms to show your skills, and later on you can now actually get that physical job. Okay, Emanuela Chibogu, you are still asking a question. Okay. Um, she's asked or he's asking. Emanuela is she now. Yes, she. Okay, she's asking the past questions. Does it include speaking? Definitely, there's no past question that will not even include speaking. It includes la compréhension écrite, la compréhension orale, expression écrite, expression orale. All the four language skills. You understand? Compréhension écrite, which is the what? Which is the reading. Compréhension orale, which is what the listening. Expression écrite, which is the writing, and expression orale, which is the what? Speaking. It contains, and we have years of past questions. In fact, I can say about the decade of past questions. So there are so many past questions that, in fact, the speaking that you mentioned now, from we have different levels of French. We have the A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. You understand? And different classes for those that are actually fast. It's not everybody that are as fast as that. But in situations where people that want to learn French within maybe 3 to 6 months, from the very first class, as we said, from the very first month, you could have started training and learning how to speak, how to listen, how to write, because one of the A1 level um, past questions, you understand, they have the speaking and they have the listening, where you listen to an audio in French, you understand, not Nigerian French, all this funky Noir French. No, you listen to Canadian French, you listen to Parisian French, le français parisien. You listen to Parisian French, and you understand you'll be able to learn from listening to them and from also speaking to someone that you understand speaks Parisian French. So just go on the website aosacademy.com and you'll be able to actually get started with learning the French, the career abroad package if you want to learn how to actually get a job easily from you understand, abroad, and many of other things that we actually shared there. Okay, let's move on. We are talking about caregiver today, the caregiver pilot program. And where we stopped was who can apply, who can really apply based on the full eligibility criteria that Canada has given us today. You understand? This week, I think I've seen it for some time now. More fifth, thank you very much for liking live on YouTube. So let's look at who can really apply to become eligible to, you understand, come in as a caregiver under the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilots, the HCWIP. Now, from what Canada stated on their website right now, they are telling us that if you want to apply, one, you have to plan to live and work in Canada outside of Quebec. So what they are saying is that you, to become eligible, you cannot choose to what, to stay in Quebec. Rather, you can choose to stay in other provinces than Quebec, because of course you know Quebec has its own different immigration pilots and programs. They are different from the mainstream what, mainstream Canada. Now moving on, they now said number two, that's the first criteria, plan and work, plan to live and work in Canada outside of Quebec. And many people don't even mind. Come to Ontario, British Columbia, anywhere, belle face, people don't mind. But the second one is where it now becomes interesting. They said meet the specific requirements for the stream you apply for. Meet the specific requirements that for the stream you what, you apply for. Now, what is the stream eligibility? That's where the question lies. As we said before, there are two streams that you may be eligible for when it comes to the what, the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilots. Do you understand? Number one is the workers in Canada, those that are already in Canada. And that is the one that they said would open up March 31st, 2020. What? 5, right? Now they said to be eligible for the workers in Canada stream, you must one, already be living in Canada. And many people are not already living in Canada. So if you are not already living in Canada, this stream does not apply to you. The second stream may apply to you, but this particular stream we are mentioning does not apply to you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, they said you can be physically outside of Canada when you apply, for example, on vacation, but you will need to show that you normally reside in Canada. Again, they are just buttressing the kind of people that can apply if they are already living in Canada. Now, one of the ways that you can always prove that you are already living in Canada is for you to have an address in Canada, for you to, you understand, have a bank account. There are different ways to show, you understand. I'm not going to go into the main crux of it, but the idea is if you want to be part of that workers in Canada stream, you must be living in Canada. Even if you're outside of Canada on a vacation, you must have, you understand, your residence basically. Whether it is temporary, and of course it's going to be temporary, it's going to be permanent because this one is to apply for permanent. So it's going to be a temporary residence. Now, that's the number one criteria. Number two criteria is that you have to be authorized to work in Canada full time in any occupation in a non-seasonal job. Now, this is where a lot of people that are even still in Canada will not be able to get to apply, because it's not everybody in Canada that qualifies for this. So if you are even in Canada, you are living in Canada, but you are not authorized to work in Canada, you are not eligible. It is for people that are authorized to work in Canada full time in any occupation in a non-seasonal job through one, maybe you have a valid work permit, right? You have a valid work permit already, or you have a maintained status. I always talk about this maintained status. In fact, it is also known as implied status. Do you understand? And I've explained this in my other, what do you call it now, in my other live sessions, where I said for those that, okay, they are waiting on an application and they are still in Canada, maybe their work permit has expired before and they have started renewing it, but they have not gotten, you understand, that just like what they said, let's even read it just like IRCC said it on their website. They said, if I have applied for a new work permit, can I stay in Canada if my work permit expires? He said, yes, you can stay in Canada until IRCC makes a final decision on your new work permit application. This is called what? Implied or maintained status. You may also be authorized to work until we make a decision on your application. However, you must of course follow the following requirements. The following requirement is that You must stay in Canada and work under the conditions of your what, of your original work permit if you apply for another work permit. And they said if you apply for a study permit or a visitor record, you must stop working on the day the original work permit what expires. But still, you may still be, you understand, in Canada until a final decision has been made on the new application you signed up for. Now, they said again, for you to be authorized to work in Canada full time, you must be working through what we know as a public policy. And there are various public policies out there. You understand? One of the public policies may be the one that relates, may the one that relates to what relates to refugee claimants, or you understand, asylum seekers. Now, they are now telling us for us to know in details what does not count as eligible work authorization for this stream. So let's now look at it. What does not, you understand, count for it? They said if you are not authorized to work through one of the above options, you are not eligible for this stream. For example, if you are not eligible, okay, for example, you are not eligible if you are working without a work permit. If you are working without a work permit, for instance, as a business visitor that comes into Canada, you are not eligible to work because you said you came to tour the country, to visit the country, see how some business opportunities are, and go back to your country. Or you are what? You are working without a work permit under the conditions of a study permit, of your study permit. If your study permit did not give you outrightly a work permit in addition to it, you understand, you are not authorized to actually benefit from this program. Now, they said if you are currently living in Canada but no longer have work authorization, you may still be eligible for the pilot under a public policy. So they said you can learn more about the what additional requirements as an out of status or an unauthorized worker. That means you were first of all working in Canada before, but now Canada has maybe your work permit expired and you are no longer eligible. But you can still be eligible to apply for this pilot, but just check the public policies, and we will not really go in depth so that we don't bore other people that are not falling into that category. Now, they said applicants not working in Canada, that's the second stream. You know, the first stream that we talked about for caregivers are those that are what? Working in Canada, workers in Canada. If you are not working in Canada, if you are applicants from outside Canada, the stream of applicants not working in Canada will open at a later date. It is not open now, it will open at a later date. So to be eligible for applicants not working in Canada stream, you must prove you have enough money for you and your family to settle in what? To settle in Canada. So proof of funds, basically. Proof of funds is required for those that are coming outside of Canada to actually stay inside of Canada or to become permanent residents. Oh, okay. Lizzie Cherry 7. She says, my work permit has a clause. Oh, okay. Can we know what clause does your work permit have? If it has a clause, we have to now check if it is eligible for this caregiver program. If it is not eligible, then we have to know. So just give us a rundown of the clause that you are mentioning. Now let's move on. They said again that language, we said what are the criteria? One of the criteria to qualify for what? For home care worker immigration pilots is plan to live and work in Canada outside Quebec, meet the specific requirements for the stream you apply for, which we have mentioned. The next thing is for you to meet the language requirement. To meet the language requirement. Now, what is the language requirement? Let's go into it. But before that, let's answer the question of more thrift. More thrift is asking, how long do we have to leave the proof of fund in our account before ITA? Okay, basically, how long do you have under the proof of funds that we have for permanent residents? They would always say on the immigration website that firstly, your proof of funds must be for yourself, for your spouse or common law partner, and your dependent children, or the dependent children of your spouse or common law partner. And they must be the proof of funds depending on the ones that you have, whether it's for one family member, two family member, three family member, 4, 5, 7, and the rest. It must be, you understand, in your bank account, or it's not compulsory, it's only your bank account. It can be the bank account of your spouse, your common law partner, You understand? It must be normally 6 months duration. It must be there within 6 months is like the minimum when it comes to permanent residence. Minimum. Do you understand? Though for this pilot program, they may give some exceptions. So let's wait until when they open applicants not working inside Canada stream. Let's wait for us to know that one. So, okay, Lizzie Cherry 7 is saying not to work in healthcare sector. Oh, okay, you mean that is your clause. Your clause is not to work in healthcare sector, right? Well, the beauty of this program, pilot, this new immigration or home care worker immigration pilot program, is that it is not like a temporary residence pathway. It is not like the work permit you have before. Do you understand? It is for permanent residence. Do you understand? So the work permit you had before was for you not to work in healthcare sector. Yes, we understand that one. But the eligibility that they stated on the Canadian immigration website, which we just read now, was given eligibility that if you have a work permit, it never mentioned that you must fulfill another clause that says you must work in healthcare. No, it didn't state that one. What is stated on the website that we just read for you now is that just at least have a work permit. You understand? So don't let's complicate it more than what IRCC stated on their website. In fact, me, anything IRCC does not state, for me, the way I think of it, it is like a blessing in disguise. Because if I'm you, I can go and screenshot their website now. Just go on website Canada, Caregiver Canada, screenshot the website and just put it as a proof. You understand? Send it, have it as a proof. So when you're applying, you can also state it that based on this, me, I always like something. When I was working on my own immigration, I wrote an explanation letter. I think maybe that was one of the reasons they never asked for any external documentation or anything. Because I wrote an explanation letter to say, based on what I saw on your website, I apply with all these my documentations. With the documentations you said you want, the requirement you said I have is what I applied based on. You understand? So then they know that you did not mention that people that have one clause on work permit should not apply. You never mentioned that. You just said if you have work permit, you are eligible. Fakati, let's leave it like that. Okay, let's move on. So Lizzie Cherry 7 is still saying, but I need to have a full-time job. Well, let's read it. Is one of the requirements. You need to have a full-time job. If that is what they say, I want us to take it one step at a time. Do you understand? Let's look at what they say on their website. Don't let us, because I don't want to put my own words. I want to read it as what Canadian immigration website stated. You understand? So, okay, she said my current job now is part-time. It is a Cherry 7. Okay, no problem. Let's look at it if you still qualify or if not. Now they say that for those that want to apply, one, you have to plan to live and work in Canada. That's number one criteria. Two, and we have talked about that one before. Two, you have to meet the specific requirements for the streams you apply to. That's the second one. The third one is that you have to meet a language requirement. The language requirement. What's the language requirement? They said you must take a language test to prove you meet the minimum level for all 4 language skills. That means writing, reading, listening, and speaking in English or French. To assess your English or French skills, IRCC uses what? The Canadian Language Benchmark. That's the CLB, the Canadian Language Benchmarks, CLB for English, and Niveau de Compétence Linguistique Canadien, the NCLC for what? For French. So whether you have band 4 in English or band 4 in French, you also stand a very good chance. And they also give us a link here where they say take a language test. So for those that want to take language tests to become eligible for that requirement. Now they said meet the education requirement. That's the next thing you need to have. What is the education requirement? They said you must have completed the equivalent of a Canadian high school diploma or higher. So high school lásán, secondary school, WAEC. Some people will don't complicate these things. Don't complicate it. They say you must have completed the equivalent of a Canadian secondary school diploma. WAEC is what they are saying is the minimum or higher. So if you have a bachelor's, you can still apply. You have a master's, you can apply. A PhD, you can apply. NCE, you can apply. OND, HND, no problem. You can apply. Okay, Angel Debbie 255. Oh, welcome, man. Thank you very much for joining our live session again. Really appreciate. We saw you in the previous live session as well. Now, they said if you completed your education outside of Canada, you didn't complete it whilst you were in Canada, you will need what to get your education credential assessed to show that it's equivalent to what, to a Canadian higher school diploma or what, or higher. So of course you need to actually get your ECA, educational credential assessment, either through A.O.S, ICAS, ISS, you understand, all those organizations, you need to get it. Now, Mount Thrift is asking, can ND and BSc be used together? Of course, absolutely. That's what they call dual certificate or dual certification, double certification. So you can use it. There's no issues with that. You can merge the two and assess them together for the education credential assessment for 2 years, for two or more results. Of course, it works. I mean, two or more yes, we have said it. Fact, it can work for two or more certificates. You understand? It works. No problem. Hoppy 14 is asking, hello. Yes, hello, boss. Hello, sir. Bios. Which one is Bios again? I presume you wanted to say boss. Okay, so let's move on. We have seen the criteria that they stated that for you to qualify, you must have the what? You must have the education requirements. Let's now look at, for you to have enough, the next, let's take it again. They said to qualify for the home care worker immigration pilot, HCWIP, you must, one, plan to live and work in Canada outside Quebec, number one. Number two, you must meet the specific requirements for the stream. That is number what? Number two, for you to apply. Number three, you must meet the language requirements. Number four, you must what? Meet the education requirement. Number five, you must have enough relevant work experience or training. That's where we are going to now. Thank you very much, Jedi. Jedi sent a rose. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Jedi. Really appreciate that. Again, we have Jedi just got the number one gift badge. Oh, okay. That's TikTok that is actually telling you that one. So they said you just got the first TikTok badge. Thank you for today's live. Now let's move on. For those that want to have or wants to see if they have enough relevant work experience or training, let's look at what IRCC stated on their website. What did they state that you need to have, you understand, before you can become eligible for the home care worker immigration pilot programs? They said work experience or training, depending on which pilot you apply to, whether the pilot for child care or the pilot for home support, you understand, you will need work experience or training in certain national occupation classification codes, that is the NOCs. So give me just few minutes. I want to go to get my charger. My battery is low. I don't know why it's always getting low. All right, but people, so we were talking about, I'm trying to charge now. Let's plug it in so that we don't get caught off while discussing this important topic. A topic that a lot of people want to know about. Canada immigration. When it comes to Canada immigration, you have to be up to date with the current things happening in the world of immigration. If you are not up to date, then as you guys will say. Okay, let's move on. So, okay, before that, I see someone asking a question. More Thrift is saying, I have not updated my LinkedIn since 2020. I have work experience for 3 years from 2021 till date. Okay, that's good. Then you have to go and update it. Update it quickly. The faster you update it, the better your chances. Now, can it affect in any way since they are checking social media for authentication of work experience? Okay, it's a two-way question or two. I have to give a two-way answer to that question. Um, there are some salient information and there are some salient ways Canada always look to verify your details. Do you understand? And one of the very easy, simple, quick ways is through social media. Do you understand? But social media is not going to be the only way they can verify your you understand work experience. Based on the document you share with them, they are going to look at the document you share and will be able to judge from the document how truthful your work experiences. And one of the ways you can, there's something they call the reference letter, the job reference letter. Canada is so big on that letter. They would require you to send your job reference letter. And on the job reference letter, one of the requirements is that you must have your supervisor's phone number and email address on that letter. So if they doubt your work experience, it is very easy for them to just take up the phone, call the person, you understand, if the person is in Canada, or send an email message if the person is in Canada or outside of Canada, or even just easily just go on if the company is what they call it, a registered company, like the company is I've forgotten the word now, an incorporated business. You understand? And you say, for instance, you're a caregiver and the company has a website, they can just easily go on the website and go and see, okay, this person says he's working in this place, abi? And this person normally this company always lists the names of the employers that or employees that are working with them. They can just go on their website and just go and check that, okay, this one says he's working here. Is it truly part of those that are working there? A very simple way. Check their website. You understand? Call up your supervisor. Call up. You understand? There are ways, and sometimes you based on job reference letter is just the number one document you will share. You understand? Pay stubs is another document you share. You understand? If you have them. Employment letter is another document you share if you have them. What again? uh, the tax returns, CRE tax returns. So there are many ways. Social media is just one easy way. You understand? But if they don't go through your social media, there are other documentations, other ways they can check it online. You understand? Without you necessarily. And just like you said, I don't have access to the account again. No problem. You can get access, but if you don't even get access, if you cannot do the two-factor authentication or you understand, try to get it back, anything that is wrong on your LinkedIn, at least you may have social media, you may have Facebook, put it on your Facebook. You may have Instagram, put it on your Instagram. You may have TikTok, put it on TikTok. You understand? So there are other ways. One social media cannot cause quanta, it cannot cause issues. But just we always like people to be consistent. Consistency matters when it comes to immigration because the more consistent you are, the faster it is easier for IRCC to verify your application and to approve it. You understand quickly. You don't want one issue now delaying the process. Even though LinkedIn is just one social media, so if you put it on other social media, I think that one will correct the nonsense. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome, Motrift. Let's move on. Work experience or training. We said depending on which pilot you apply to, whether it be the childcare or the home support, you will need work experience or training in certain national occupation classification codes, the NOC codes. And we have talked hugely before about national occupation classification code. Now, the ones that they are talking about or the ones that they are referring to when it comes to HCWIP is the one for the childcare and the one for the home support. There are two NOC codes for the what? For the childcare. The two NOC codes are the home childcare providers, those with the NOC 44100, and we also have the early childhood educators and assistants, that is the NOC 42202. You understand? And they said, of course, check out the details as some jobs under this NOC aren't eligible. So you have to be sure which of those are eligible and you can check it to be sure of that. Now, the whole HCWIP for home support, it has two NOC as well. You understand? And they said the two NOCs are the home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations. That is the NOC 44101. And we also have the nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates, NOC 33102. Do you understand? So any of those four NOCs, if you have experience, because now look at what they said. They said you must have 6 months of continuous full-time and relevant work experience in the what? In the past 3 years, or completed a relevant training certification or credential in the past 2 years. Now, let's go back to the question that one person asked. The person was asking, I think that's more thrift, or I don't know. Someone was just asking though. Okay, Lizzie. Yeah, Lizzie was saying my current job now is part-time. This is where your answer comes in. Canada says you have work experience or training. So if you don't have full-time work experience, no problem, no quanta. You understand? Do you have a relevant training credential that you have gotten in the past 2 years in the field of caregiving? Do you understand? Do you get the idea? So Canada have, in fact, this is one program that it is much more easier to be eligible for than their previous caregiver program, because they gave so many options, so many options. So if you don't have one particular criteria, you may need to actually get another criteria. You understand? They give, in fact, that's why a lot of, as I said, consultants too, they are looking at this program as a way that they can help a lot of people become permanent residents quickly. So moving on, let's talk about that of the okay, we have finished that of the work experience. Work experience was the requirements they mentioned when it came to the, okay, let's move on. Let's take it again. They say who can apply. We have talked about the first criteria for you to plan to live and work in Canada outside of Quebec. That was the first eligibility criteria. The second one was for you to meet the specific requirements for the stream you applied to. That was the second one. The third one was to meet the language requirements, which we have mentioned, to meet the education requirements, which we have mentioned, to have enough relevant work experience or training, which we have mentioned. Now, the last one, or second to the last actually, is to have a job offer. You understand? To have a job offer, and then I said, not just have a job offer, but have a job offer as a home child care provider or home support worker. Now, this is very, very important. Very, very important. A lot of people may not be eligible for this because of this clause. Not all job offers are eligible. Okay, Lizzie Cherry 7 said, I understand. That's cool. Yes, cool. Not all job offers are eligible. Now, how do you get a job offer, or what do you need to get a job offer? Now, they said, immigrate through the what? Home care worker immigration pilot, get a job offer. Before you can apply, you need a genuine job offer as a what? As a home child care provider or home support worker. Your employer should check for any additional requirements to hire through the what? The home care worker immigration pilot. But number one, for you to apply or to get a job offer, you must be likely to accept the job offer and be able to perform the job duties. We will review things like your past training and experience to determine this. So you cannot, for instance, say you have studied, you have a training under childcare, and you go and get a job offer under home support. You see, there's a difference there. There's a contrast there. So the job experience you have must tally with the what? With the job offer you get. And the beauty of it is, I don't always even tell people, try to get training and experience on the both, so that any job offer, because sometimes you cannot determine the kind of job offer you get. Any job offer that comes your way, if you have experience in both home child care and home support, you stand a better chance. You understand? Now, number two, they said the job must be in the National Occupation Classification Code of the pilot you apply for. And we have said yes. For the child care, it can either be the home child care providers, NOC 44100. You understand? They said the location can't be an institutional setting, such as a daycare. So you can have a job offer for a daycare. It is not accepted in an institutional setting. A job as a foster parent doesn't count. That means if you are a parent of your child, your own child, you understand, or a foster parent, it doesn't count, because basically a job, one of the criteria Canada is big on is that a job must pay you. You understand? and it cannot be volunteerism whereby you are just doing it for the sake of God and you are not being paid for it. Now, they now said jobs that are under home support has to be under the home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations under NOC 44101. And the location, of course, cannot be an institutional setting, such as a nursing home. It can't be in a nursing home. Although, now they are saying, although work experience and training in these NOCs may be eligible, we won't accept job offers for early childhood educators and assistants NOC 42202 and nurse aides, orderlies and patient service associates NOC 33102. Now this is where a lot of people may be cut off guard. So if you're an early childhood educator, they are not going to accept. If you get a job from early childhood educator or assistant, they will not accept because that was more or less like a teacher. Nurse aides, orderlies, you understand, patient service associates, they may not accept job offers from that niche, from those niches. Because if you look at it, they are looking for job offers that are much more in demand. Do you understand? That's one of the reasons they are giving this pilot program out. They are starting off this pilot. It's more or less for in demand jobs. Yes, early childhood educators too are in demand. Nurse aides and they are also in demand too. But there are other programs, you understand, that actually caters for those sets of people. Now they said one of the criteria for the job offers that of course it must be in Canada, outside of Quebec. Do you understand? It must be in Canada outside of Quebec. So you cannot get a job whilst you are in Ontario, you now get a job in Quebec and you now want to use it. No, it doesn't work. You understand? Because that would constitute one of the reasons why you plan to live and work outside of Canada or at the province of Quebec. And of course, they have said that one of the criteria is you have to plan to live and work in Canada outside of it mustn't be in the province of Quebec. Now, the job offer you get must be full-time and continuous work, meaning that it must be at least 30 hours of paid work per week. It must be a permanent employment. In other words, there is no set end date. There is no set end date. Do you understand? Now, they said the job offer must include one, your hourly wage, your employment requirement, and a description of the main duties. The job offer must be genuine, meaning there is a real need to hire you. So if an employer give you a job and he doesn't really need to hire you, you will not get to be, you understand, selected to go to Canada permanently because they have a lot of other staff that can do that job that you want to do. So there must be a genuine need to actually do that job. You understand? The employer can fulfill the terms of the job, including paying you. So you cannot just get an employer that maybe it's a family member or friend, because of course you can use family members or friends, or you can use people that you are sure you have acquaintances for to give you a job because yes, they said someone that has a private household can also issue a job, but it mustn't be that that person cannot even feed his own self or cannot. For instance, I do always make instance of my own self that yes, I'm able to take care of my own family. I'm able to, you understand, take care of my own self, but I have not had a business that will now take care of another person or pay another person. How much am I making in a year? You understand? So even though yes, what I'm making in the Nigerian setting is in fact is in the millions of years, but what I'm trying to say is in the Canadian standards, it is still not enough to actually employ someone else. Right? So let's move on. First star is saying, can occupational health person dealing with disabilities apply? Good question. Occupational health person dealing with disabilities, can they apply? Now, even though before we have been talking about caregiving in relation to three categories, we were talking about it in relation to child care, in relation to adult care, and disabilities. From the full eligibility criteria we have been reading right now, do you understand? Canada never mentioned people with disabilities or caregivers dealing with people with disabilities. But again, sometimes we always tell people you can be creative, especially when you have work experiences that are closely aligned to what they are looking for. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So if your own disability or if your own tasks, your own duties was to take care of a child that has disabilities, then you may apply under the stream that talks about childcare. Because of course Disability, someone with child with disability is still a child. It's not, there's not another name they are calling the person. I mean, a child is still a child with disability. So if you have skills in that level where child you are taking care of a child with disabilities and still under child care, maybe you are still like the person's what they call it, you are still the person's home child care provider. You are going into that person's house to take care of the child, you understand, then you can fall into that category. If of course you are not even taking care of children, you are taking care of adults with disabilities, you may fall into home support workers, you understand, or caregivers and related occupations. If of course what you are doing is you are not just taking care of the person physically but the house, you understand, you are taking care of everything related to that person's feeding and everything, you may also fall into, you understand, that category. So disabilities itself is not into, or is not a separate stream under the new caregiver pilot program, but depending on how you actually fine tune your work experiences and show that you are still qualified for either childcare or home support, you may still fall under the first two streams that we mentioned. Hope that answers your question. Now, Lizzie Cherry 7 says, question, please. Oh, you can ask your question now, Lizzie Cherry. Drop it on the comment section. Now, let's move on. They said the job offer must one, yes, have a real need to hire you. The employer can pay you. We have said that. And moving on, they said the employer follows all the rules and laws set by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, one, and two, all the rules and laws set by the federal and provincial what? Federal and provincial legislations. So they mustn't be someone that are going against the law or going against the what? Going against the rules and regulation of the country, right? Now, they said the wage, the money that that person must pay you must be equal to or higher than the job bank's median wage for the occupation listed on the job offer in the province or territory of employment. They said if there is no provincial or territorial minimum wage, use the national one. If the employer's workers have a union, the rules of the collective agreement apply. So let's mention, or let's take some instances of like home child care provider, for instance. If you look at the NOC home child care provider, if you look at the wage of those people now, we have to, you understand, we have to look into it so that we'll determine if you are eligible and you not just be wasting your time. Do you understand? If you are eligible, you will know from the list that, oh, if we look at this list, oh, the wage, okay, let's look at the home child care providers, wages for home child care providers, for instance. They say, like in the province where I am, the province of Ontario, the minimum that you must pay someone is 17,000, $17.20. That is the like minimum that you must pay, the lowest that you must pay. But the median that Canada is saying is $18, $18 per hour. $18 what? Per hour. If you look at $18 per hour, if you are not getting a job that is not paying you $18 per hour, if you are getting a job that is paying you below the median wage, you understand, then that is not a valid job that you can use for this program. Now, Lizzie Cherry 7 says, I overheard you said someone that works in daycare can't apply. Yes, it's not me that said it to you. It's Canada that said it. Look at what they said when they said the job must be in the National Occupation Code of the pilot you applied for the home child care provider. They said the location can't be in an institutional setting such as a daycare. That's what IRCC stated on their web. I'm reading I'm reading their website. It can't be in an institutional setting such as a daycare. You know, I mentioned before that they have said it before on one of their updates that a job offer you can get must be in a private household. Do you understand? And that's why I mentioned, just like home child care support providers, they require you to go into that house and to take care of the child. You understand? So you must get a work offer, a job offer from someone that can afford to pay you, that has a child that requires home child care and you understand fulfills all those requirements. Oh, okay, cool. So they now said again that if your employer is a business or a non-profit organization, they must have been providing the same type of care services as the job for at least 1 year before what? Before the job offer was made. Now, this is where a lot of us we cannot, because some people be asking that maybe you are in Canada, can't you give a job offer? See what Canada says. Canada says if your employer is a business or a non-profit organization, they must have been providing the same type of care services as the job for at least 1 year before the job offer was made. So if let's say I was a business, which of course I am a business because A.O.S abroad is a business, we are registered under Ontario Business Registry. You understand? If I'm to give an employment, even though I don't have any child I want to take care of, but if I'm to give an employment, what they are telling me is that if I'm to give an employment this March 25, 2025, I must have been what? Employing people since March 2024, doing that same similar caregiver job. You understand for me? And I now need maybe like extra hands. So as a result of that, I want to collect or I want to employ a foreign national. So it has to have a precedence. Just like someone was asking that proof of funds, do I need to have proof of funds this one? Yes, this one too has a precedence that at least 1 year before you should have been employing other people, paying other people, you understand, following the rules and regulations for employment or not. And how much do I have to be paid? So I hope you understand. So it is not as easy as many people always think. Because you're in Canada, anybody can give, nobody can just give job anyhow. So Lizzie Cherry 7, and if you give job anyhow, it's a simple thing. To write a letter is very easy. To write a letter, a job letter, a job employment letter is very easy. But the truth about it is, if I write a letter for someone and I did not tell the person I'm not eligible to give a job, and the person apply using my job employment letter and gets rejected, the person will not blame me now. Abi? So to avoid any stories that touch, ensure that your employer fulfills many of these you understand criteria. So Lizzie Cherry is saying, which one won't come favor me, God? Anyone that wants to favor you is God that know. Thank God you're asking God. So thank God you're asking God. So it's God that can help you. It's God that can make it favor you. And again, always ask questions. Try to find out, review your eligibility, because something about Canada immigration is that it is vast. You understand? It is vast. Canada immigration is not just a one size fits all kind of thing. And the fact that one program doesn't fit you does not mean that another one cannot fit you. But the problem we have, especially people that are in this field of especially language training, exam preparation, and immigration, is that people don't always want to focus on what suits them or what can help them. They would always feel that, oh, the one that is easy is what they want to pursue. And the one that is easy, many people just like you too want to pursue. So at the end of the day, nobody will really get it, or few people will get it, and the vast majority will not get it. You understand? Many people are qualified for like express entry, for instance, but they are looking for Beckham, looking for caregiver, new caregiver program. Many people are eligible for PMPs, or they can be eligible for PMPs, but they are focusing on caregiver. You know, and that's why I do tell people. I remember when I was coming to Canada, I didn't get a job in Canada. I didn't have a friend that can help me sponsor in Canada. I didn't have a family that can support me. I didn't have a work experience in Canada as many people have. I didn't have a study experience or a certificate, a diploma, a degree from Canada. And because I didn't have those things, I just looked into which other provinces, which other programs can I qualify for, and can I focus on. Do you understand? Because at the end of the day, if you are not willing to focus on the things that you are qualified for, you will just be stressing yourself on something that they can never select you for, which for many people may be this caregiver program. Many people may never get selected because whether you like it or not, the odds are already against you. Okay, let's just leave that one. For those that want to learn, just to chip in the last point, for those that want to learn how to qualify, I mentioned about express entry caregiver, PMPs. You can go into our website. You understand? There's where we talked about where you can watch our webinar. There's a webinar video I've talked about extensively how to become eligible for, you understand, all these permanent programs. Because whether we like it or not, this caregiver program is not here to stay. It is a pilot, and a pilot program will come and go. You understand? But there are some programs that will not come and go. There are some programs that are here to stay. There are some programs that are permanent in nature, that would always continuously help people become permanent residents. So you can watch our webinar video on link.ng/PR, where we talked extensively about those kind of programs that can, you understand, that you can do, which are permanent in nature. Okay, let's move on. First star is asking, the disability is for adults. It's not in a home, it's a workplace. Well, it is not all jobs that they say that you must get in home. And that takes us to the next response, or the next you understand information. IRCC says that on their website that your job offer, for a job offer to be considered a job offer, the employer must have a Canada Revenue Agency business number. And again, that is where we fall short. We don't have a Canada Revenue Agency business number, because the business I registered, A.O.S Abroad, is a self-employed business. It's just now that I'm thinking that, okay, well, it seems it's now time for me to now register as a company. Before I registered as a business name, you understand? And as a business name, you don't need to actually get a Canada Revenue Agency business number. Do you understand? You can use your normal CRA personal number for it. So I hope we are communicating. I hope you are enjoying it. Now, they now said for a job to be a job offer, a valid job offer as well, that job should be either from a private household. Now look at this. They said it should either be from a private household. That means it should be from a house, a home of someone that you are treating that has disabilities, or someone that you are treating that has, you understand, a children to take care of, or adult to take care of. That is the number one criteria. So first time, hope you are hearing that. First criteria is that it might either be from a private household, or the second thing, it must be a business or a non-profit organization. Now look at this. It must be a business or a non-profit organization that has a direct employer to employee relationship. A direct employer to employee relationship, meaning the employer is directly responsible for hiring the employee rather. There's no second person, there's no intermediary. The direct person employing, the employer hiring directly the employee. The employer will be the one managing the work conditions. The employer will be the one paying the employee directly. There's no one person helps someone directly. Now they said this includes organizations that directly hire full-time workers to provide either short-term or occasional home care for those who are semi-independent or recovering from an injury or illness. So for example, who are these, or which kind of businesses are they referring to? These businesses can be home health care service providers. These businesses can be home care support service providers. These businesses can be direct care agencies. It can also be personal care services in residential settings, not in institutional settings, which they said didn't qualify that time. Or it should be in pediatric home health care service providers. Do you understand? Those are the five categories. Either home health care service providers, home care support service providers, direct care agencies, personal care services in residential settings, or pediatric home health care service providers. So again, first start, if your employment, the disability you are working with for adults, if it is in any of these workplaces, any of these organizations, then you also stand a fair chance as well. Now let's move on. They are now telling us what does not count as an eligible employer. The employer cannot be a recruitment or placement agency. So you cannot get a job from a recruitment or placement agency and it will be accepted. It will be accepted. It mustn't be an embassy or a high commission or a consulate or a person accredited to these missions in Canada. For example, a diplomat. It can't be in any of these. The employer cannot be an employer found to be non-compliant with immigration or, you understand, recruitment laws. The employer, of course, cannot be yourself. You cannot be self-employed. You can't be employing yourself. Now, look at where the caveat comes in. The employer cannot be a spouse. It cannot be a common law partner. It cannot be a parent. It cannot be a grandparent. It cannot be a child. Do you understand? So, look at it. In the family setting, it cannot be a spouse, maybe husband or wife. It cannot be a common law partner, maybe girlfriend or boyfriend. It cannot be a parent, mother or father. It cannot be a grandparent, grandmother or grandfather. It cannot be a child, whether a boy or a girl. But any other thing they do not see, it can be it. You understand? So even in the family setting, you have one uncle, one auntie that need childcare support because they did not mention it here. You get. And what they did not mention, you can debate it. So if you have an uncle, a brother, a sister, in fact, they never even talk about brother or sister yet. So it can be your brother, it can be your sister in Canada. It can, if they can fulfill many of those criteria that they mentioned. So, okay, I think the last things now refer to employers because they are saying employer form. Your employer must complete, sign, and give the employer information form. And yes, I think all the others are related to employers. All the other information are related to employers. So, first of all, we are talking about the employees, those that are applicants that want to actually come into Canada under the what? Under the new Canada Immigration um, pilot program for caregivers. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have learned the eligibility criteria for the caregivers. The last eligibility criteria that we are going to be mentioning, apart from the job, mind you, let's go back. They said who can apply. Those that can apply was the people that plan to live and work in Canada outside Quebec, to those that meet the specific requirements for the streams that they apply for, those that meet the language requirement of band 4.0 or more, those that meet the education requirement of what, but secondary school certificate, those that have enough relevant work experience, maybe like 6 months of work experience or training of up to 2 years, those that have a job offer as a home child care provider or home support worker, and lastly, the last one is those that are what, admissible to what, admissible to Canada. That's the last criteria, the last requirement. What does it mean to be what? To be admissible to Canada? Canada said what it means to be inadmissible. They said some people aren't allowed to come in to Canada. Wow, because they are inadmissible under the Canadian immigration law. We lost sound. Oh, that's strange. Uh Lizzie Cherry says we lost sound. Does that apply to everybody? Am I audible? Can every other person hear me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, put it on the chat section. Put it on the chat section. Let's know if you can hear me. Let's know if I'm audible. Let's know if I'm communicating with you. And if you can't, you can check us up on visit us on Instagram. Check Instagram, you understand, or YouTube. If Oh, okay. First he says yes, we can. So if you still can't, you can visit us on YouTube or Instagram. We're also having it simultaneously live on those platforms. So they said, who can be inadmissible? If Canada wants to say you are inadmissible to Canada, what do they really mean? You understand? They said a Canadian immigration officer will decide if you can enter Canada when you apply for a visa or an electronic travel authorization (ETA), or when you arrive at a port of what? At a port of entry. And they said there are different reasons we may not let you into a Canada, such as maybe like security reasons, such as criminal reasons, or what? Such as medical reasons. Medical reasons. Oh, I think TikTok has actually gone off. Eventually, if you were on TikTok, you can also watch us on Instagram, on YouTube. You understand? I think sadly we were not able to finish up on TikTok. So if you are inadmissible to Canada, of course, maybe like you were driving, one of the ways you can be inadmissible to Canada is that you were driving while being impaired. So you were driving when you were actually impaired, you were taking all this like alcohol, drugs, cannabis, then that is serious criminality, and you may have been what? You may have been flagged for that. Do you understand? And if again you are someone that maybe you committed one offense or the other, basically you may be inadmissible to Canada. And there are ways to overcome your criminal inadmissibility, but let's just leave it at that for now. Those that are inadmissible are those that don't have any criminal records. You understand? Those that don't have any issues as regards their medicals, don't have any issues as regards what, as regards their security concerns or the security concerns of Canada towards those people entering into Canada. So thank you very much, everyone. Really do appreciate you for joining. If you have any questions, you can drop it on the comment section. We went off of TikTok. I think TikTok actually closed the live session unknowingly. So we have done more than 1 hour already. So I think it's not able to do one more than 1 hour, sadly. So do we have any questions? If we don't have any questions, then we'll have to call it a day. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions later on, you can always drop it on the comment section later on, and we'll do justice to respond to them anytime we receive it. And don't forget to also like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also follow us on our other social media platforms. And please note that every other week, at least once a week, we always come on live, so you can always join us later on. You understand, to actually benefit from our live sessions. So thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now. Over.